You meet someone new, your hand goes out, their hand goes out, you grip, you shake, it's over in a second, and you move on with your day. You've done this thousands of times. You've probably never once asked why your body does this exact motion, with this exact stranger, in this exact way. The real answer is far stranger than manners. That handshake isn't etiquette. It's a fossil, a piece of ancient behavior still fully intact, buried in plain sight inside a gesture you perform without thinking. Most of what you call politeness was invented recently. Table manners, small talk, the specific words for hello, all of it is cultural, all of it changes across time and place. The handshake is different. Strip away the social varnish, and you find something older than language itself, something your body still remembers even though your mind has completely forgotten why. So what is a handshake actually for? Not connection, not really, not originally. It's a demonstration. A specific physical demonstration that answers a question your ancestors needed answered immediately, every single time a stranger came close enough to touch. That question was simple: are you armed? Before there were words for trust, there were hands, and hands were the part of the body most likely to be holding a weapon. An open palm held out, fingers spread, showed exactly one thing: nothing in it. No blade, no stone, no club. It was proof, delivered in a single gesture, faster than any sentence could manage. Grip the hand, and you add a second layer of proof. A weapon can be dropped quickly, but a hand actively clasped around another hand cannot easily reach for anything else. For the length of that grip, both people are, in a very literal sense, disarmed together. Zoologist and ethologist Conrad Lawrence spent decades studying appeasement behavior across animal species. Gestures specifically evolved to signal, "I am not a threat," and prevent unnecessary conflict between individuals who could otherwise hurt each other. Across the animal kingdom, these signals share a common shape: exposure, vulnerability, offered voluntarily as proof of peaceful intent. Your open palm belongs to that exact same ancient category. You are not the only species that does something like this. Primatologist Frans de Waal has spent his career documenting reconciliation behavior in chimpanzees and other primates, the specific physical gestures they use after conflict or tension to restore trust and signal safety. Embraces, touching, physical contact used deliberately to communicate something words cannot. Long before your ancestors had language sophisticated enough to say, "I mean you no harm," their bodies were already saying it, hand to hand, skin to skin. Here's what makes this stranger still. That grip does something to you internally, something you don't control and can't opt out of. Touch researcher Tiffany Field, who has spent decades studying the physiological effects of human touch, has found that physical contact, even something as brief as a handshake, can influence stress hormones and activate the body's calming systems. A few seconds of skin contact changes your internal chemistry, not metaphorically, actually measurably in your bloodstream. Think about what that means. You walk into a room full of strangers, tense, uncertain, running on alert. Someone extends a hand, you grip it, and in that instant, your body receives a chemical signal that says, on some level beneath conscious thought, that the threat has passed. The ancient proof of no weapon ritual and the modern chemical calm-down response turned out to be the exact same mechanism, wearing two different names. That's the twist buried inside this. You think the handshake makes you feel calmer because it's a polite social custom. It's actually the reverse. The custom exists and persisted for thousands of years across wildly different cultures because the underlying biology already worked. Culture didn't invent the calming effect. Culture just built a ritual around a calming effect that was already there, hardwired, from a much older need to know, instantly, whether the person in front of you could hurt you. And once you see it this way, other details snap into focus. Why a weak, limp handshake feels subtly unsettling, almost dishonest, even though nobody could tell you exactly why. Why a grip that's too hard reads as an act of dominance rather than peace, an echo of the very threat the gesture was designed to rule out. Why refusing a handshake altogether can feel like a small act of aggression, even in cultures that no longer consciously think of hands as potential weapons at all. None of that is arbitrary. Every version of it maps directly back to the original question: are you armed, and are you willing to prove it isn't so? Now think about your actual week. The interview handshake you probably practiced without knowing you were performing an ancient disarmament ritual perfected over tens of thousands of years. The video call where you instinctively wave instead, and something about the greeting feels slightly incomplete, a little thinner than it should be. The moment a friend pulls you into a hug instead of a handshake, and it registers as warmer, more trusting, precisely because it exposes even more of the body than an open palm ever could. You live now in a world of video calls, elbow bumps, contactless everything, a world drifting steadily away from that original hand-to-hand proof. But notice how uneasy some of those substitutes still feel. A wave from across a screen carries none of the ancient chemical payoff. A nod carries even less. Your body is still quietly asking the same old question it always has, and increasingly, modern life doesn't have a good way to answer it. Maybe that's why, even now, in a world of instant messages and video calls, the in-person handshake still carries weight it arguably shouldn't need anymore. It's not really about business etiquette. It's a hand reaching toward another hand, proving in half a second what would take an entire conversation to say in words. Empty, open, not a threat. You meet someone new, your hand goes out, and somewhere underneath that ordinary 2-second grip, tens of thousands of years of ancestors are still quietly checking to see if the stranger in front of them is holding a weapon.